Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So, today we will have the class for only half an hour, okay? Because exam is also there, MBSc exam is also there, so it will be only for half an hour.
Okay, ma'am.
So the slide is visible.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so today we will start with common poultry diseases. Now, can you name any one or two poultry diseases which we have already, like I have mentioned in the previous classes?
Coccidiosis.
Coccidiosis. Then any other?
Newcastle disease.
Newcastle disease. Then
Aspergillosis.
aspergillosis. Then any other?
Mareks disease.
Mareks disease. Then good. Any other?
Ma'am, fowl pox.
Fowl pox. Then
Viral arthritis.
viral arthritis. Then
Bird flu.
bird flu. Okay. Then
Ma'am, Ranikhet.
Ranikhet is also, the other name is Newcastle disease. Ranikhet and Newcastle disease is same. Newcastle disease or Ranikhet. Then, because in India it was first found in Ranikhet, okay? Then any other? Okay, good. You have mentioned many diseases. So what we will discuss the main diseases which are affecting the poultry farm or the birds. Okay, very common ones I'm going to discuss. I'll not go into details, but how you are going to know that that disease is prevalent in the farm once you know the basic symptoms. I'll not go into pathogenesis and all those things. You will study later on, but we will give more stress on the management, how you are going to prevention or how you are going to prevent the occurrence of the disease in the farm. Okay, so first is the classification of the poultry diseases. We have 5 classification, that is viral, bacterial, fungal, parasitic, and nutritional. Okay, so the different agents, all these 4 agents, you know, but often due to some nutritional deficiency, also the birds suffer from the mortality may be there, which is very important from the management point of view. That is the nutritional, which is completely 100% in our hands. Okay, and then there are some miscellaneous diseases also. So coming to the viral diseases which are caused by the virus, Ranicate or Newcastle disease, you have fowl pox, you have Mareks disease, you have infectious bronchitis, you have gumboro or also known as IBD, that is infectious bursal disease, and avian influenza or bird flu. Okay, so these are the 6 very common ones, very common diseases which we have to prevent in our farm, because heavy mortality will be and there once there is a prevalent of the disease, outbreak of this disease. And next is the bacterial diseases like Pulluram disease. It is caused by Salmonella. In the later slides, we will discuss the causative organism and all. Then chronic respiratory disease, that is CRD, which is also caused by bacteria. Then infectious coryza, then fowl cholera, fowl typhoid. All these different bacterial diseases are there, but these are the I'm telling you, many diseases are there, okay? But these are very common and we have to prevent it. Then comes from fungal diseases. We have aspergillosis, or also known as brooder pneumonia. And then there is another one that is known as aflatoxicosis. Then from parasitic, all the parasites, that is whether it is ectoparasites or endoparasites, they may, if lots of their infestation is there, then the birds will suffer from some diseases like liver problem, or they will have some diarrhea and all those things. So ectoparasites as well as endoparasites, both are very much important. And the most important, that is the birds often suffer, is the nutritional, because the birds, they are small birds and they are completely dependent on that, because if you're going for commercial poultry farming, then they cannot pick up these vitamins by their own, so you have to give them in the diet. So what are the different vitamin deficiency they usually suffer is the deficiency of vitamin A vitaminosis, and or it is also known as nutritional coup. Okay, COUP, nutritional coup. That coup is missing here. Then you have polyneuritis, you have curl toe paralysis. These are all vitamin B deficiency. Then dermatitis, encephalomalacia, ricket, and parosis. Okay, so these are the different symptoms or the different diseases that the birds are often, if they suffer from any type of this deficiency, then they will show this type of symptoms. Okay, and the miscellaneous diseases are also there, which is due to improper management, that is bumblefoot, cannibalism, crop impaction, poisoning, etc. Just know the names, we will discuss in details. Okay, so these are the main very common diseases or very common problems that you are going to find in a poultry farm. All the viral diseases, bacterial, fungal, parasitic, and nutritional deficiency diseases. Then coming to the first disease, that is known as Ranicate or Newcastle disease. It is a viral disease, and when this disease occurs in a farm, 100% mortality will be there. Once it is affected, means your whole farm will be finish. Okay, so that is why we have to be very much careful regarding the Newcastle disease or Ranicate disease. And what are the symptoms that you are going to find is, in case of chicks, there will be coughing, gasping, difficulty in breathing. Okay, trembling, that is the muscular, particularly the legs, there will be trembling of the legs. Lack of coordination means they will not be able to move in a normal way. Okay, if they want to go to the left, they may go to the right, and there will be the lack of coordination will be there. And partial or complete paralysis of extremities. partial or complete paralysis of extremities. Okay, I'll show you the photographs. So the extremities become paralyzed, and mortality is 100%. Okay, there will be complete sweep of the farm. And in case of adults, you will find respiratory problem, impaired appetite will be lost, sharp drop in egg production. Okay, soft shelled eggs, the egg shell will be very soft. There will be breakage also. Head of the birds down between the legs, so they will remain in the all the birds, they will not look straight and all. Okay, their head, they will try to put their head in between the legs. Okay, so that drooping will be there. So these are the main symptoms, and transmission is by nasal or mouth discharges. That is why, okay, since the transmission takes place through direct contact as well as air and contaminated feed and water. So these are the main routes of transmission. Main routes means all the routes, okay? Contaminated feeder and water, contaminated with the feces, then nasal and mouth discharges, air, okay? So all the transmission routes are there, and the only prevention is by vaccination. There is no treatment, no treatment is effective. Once the disease occurs in the farm, there you cannot go for any treatment, and the vaccination is the only way to prevent this disease. So that is why already I have mentioned while going for the management of the broilers, that Newcastle disease vaccine or F1 or Lasota strain or R2B strain, these vaccines has to be provided to the birds, okay, whether it is a farmer, whether it is a commercial ones, wherever, how many, if you're keeping 10 birds, 20 birds, whatever may be, you have to go for the vaccination. Exceptions are there, like if you're having the indigenous birds, they are usually resistant to this type of diseases, okay, and since they are kept only few numbers, so there's no, usually don't go for vaccination. But whenever you are going for commercial, like broilers or commercial layers, they are very weak, and you have to go for the vaccination. Vaccination is the only way to prevent the disease, and vaccination is a must, okay, against this Rannicate disease. See this, okay. Here, this photograph. Have you seen this photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
So here, see, I have told you that there will be paralysis of the extremities. There will be paralysis of the extremities, so they cannot stand up, they cannot move also. It will be completely like this. Then here, see, the extremities are paralyzed, okay? Their neck and all, they usually keep it in this way. They cannot put their head up. Okay, and here also some petechial hemorrhages will be there in the just around the eyes. But the most prominent post-mortem lesion is that this is a proventriculus, and you are going to have the petechial once you dissect the proventriculus of a dead bird. You are going to find this petechial hemorrhage, this round black blood spots you are going to get in the proventriculus, and this is confirmative way of diagnosing and that the birds have been suffering from Newcastle disease, because these things may also happen in case of Mareks disease. Also, you may find this type of problem in the toes, and curl toe paralysis also may be there, which occurs due to the nutritional deficiency. But when mortality occurs in a large scale, and within a day or two, lots of mortality is there, you can go for confirmation by this post-mortem lesions. Okay, so this is a way of confirming the diagnosis, but you are not going to take any chance. The only thing is that you have to go for vaccination. Okay, so one to all, everyone has to go for, and it is readily available. This Newcastle disease vaccine is readily available in the market, and 100 dose will cost only around 29 rupees or 30 rupees. Okay, it is very cheap because this is a vaccine which has to be given to each and every bird. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we will go to the next disease, that is a fowl pox. Fowl pox is prevalent in the farms, but we are not, the lesions are pox lesions on comb, wattles, and legs. I hope all of you know what is a comb, what is a wattle, and the legs. Okay, you are going to find the pox lesions. There will be loss of appetite. There will be discharge. There will be discharge from the nostrils, accumulation of foamy material in the corner of eyes. That is another symptom. Cheesy membrane in the mouth. There will be a cheesy membrane. Drop in egg production, mortality up to 50%. There is not much mortality, and this fowl pox you may not find in each and every farm. That is why we are not going for vaccination in the farms where this fowl pox is not prevalent. Okay. We usually do not go for routine fowl pox vaccine, but in a farm, if once the fowl pox has occurred, then we have to go for the vaccination. Okay, so the main lesions are the pox lesions in the comb area, or wattles, and the legs, and transmission usually occurs through direct contact. Okay, direct contact means if scratches or wounds are there in a bird, and the virus may be carried by ectoparasites or mosquitoes, and the other birds will also be affected. Okay, it is not like the Newcastle disease. Newcastle disease transmission takes place via air, via direct contact. So all the ways of transmissions are there. So that is why lots of mortality, once it occurs, lots of mortality will be there. But in fowl pox, not all the farms may be affected because it is not prevalent. Like in some areas, fowl pox will not be prevalent. So once it is prevalent, means immediately by separating the birds, you can save the other birds. Once you find one bird suffering from the fowl pox type lesions, then immediately you have to separate those, isolate those birds, and go for the treatment, like any type of antibiotic you can go for it, but it is not satisfactory, and mortality also may not be there, and later on they may develop the immunity. Okay, and prevention is by vaccination. If once in your farm the fowl pox has occurred, then from after that you have to go for vaccination of the birds. You have to go for vaccination of the birds. Okay, so these are the symptoms that you are going to find. Okay, the pox lesions around the eyes, their eyes get closed. So these are the main symptoms. This type of lesions you are going to find in their legs. Okay, in the shank portion also you are going to find. So these are the if you find this type of lesions, then you may know that it is a pox. And other confirmatory diagnosis means you can take the scrapings of this area, and then you can go for the diagnosis. This is a cheesy foamy material around the eyes. Okay, this is another criteria. You are going to get cheesy material around the eyes, and this type of materials also you are going to find in their mouth. Okay, in their mouth you are going to, even the nostrils may be covered with this cheesy material. Okay, so how you are going to prevent it is through vaccination. So if fowl pox is prevalent in the area, like in Selassie area, if fowl pox is prevalent, then we have to go for vaccination. If no occurrence has been reported, we should not go for the fowl pox vaccination. But Newcastle disease, even though it is not prevalent, you have to go for the vaccination. It is a must. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then next is Mareks disease. Next is the Mareks disease, and it is caused by a herpes virus vaccine, herpes virus, and the main symptoms are paralysis will be there, loss of weight, skin lesions. Now, when you say loss of weight, in almost all the diseases there will be loss of weight. In almost all the diseases you will find drop in egg production. The animals will be drooping. The animals will be huddled together. Huddled means HUDDLED. Huddled means all the birds, they will be close together, and all their neck and head will be down. Okay, so these are the symptoms in almost all the diseases, but there are some confirmatory diagnosis will be there, and Mareks disease, paralysis of one part of the legs will be and there, and transmission is through all the types, that is water, air, saliva, nasal washings, feeder follicles, feces of infected birds, or even egg. Okay, so these are the way of transmission, and Mareks disease is prevalent, and that is why vaccination is the only way of preventing the disease. Whether it is prevalent in your farm or not, you have to go for the vaccination. But in case of Mareks disease, since this vaccine is given on the very first day, since it is given on the very first day, usually this Mareks disease vaccine is usually given in the hatchery itself. As soon as the chicks hatch out, the Mareks disease HPT vaccine, herpes virus of Turkey vaccine, HVT, okay, herpes virus of Turkey, it has been taken from the Turkey. So this is the vaccine that is usually given subcutaneously just below the skin, and it is given in the hatchery itself. So when I discussed about the broiler farm, I already told you about the Mareks disease vaccine. We don't have to give in the farm, but usually the hatcheries are taking care of this Mareks disease vaccine. Okay, so vaccination is the only way. This is the symptom. Okay, so there will be paralysis of one leg that you will find. Okay, in case of the Ranicate disease, only the extremities will be affected. Okay, but in case of Mareks disease, the nervine of the legs will be affected. So this is one symptom. So coming to the next, that is the infectious bronchitis. Infectious bronchitis, the symptoms will be sneezing, coughing, gasping, nasal discharge, distinct crackling sound heard when the cheek is held close to the ear. And these are the main symptoms. Respiratory symptoms will be there. And in case of adults, there will be gasping. Distinct crackling sound means when you are going to take the cheek near to your ear, you will find the sound. Okay, near the heart, you are going to find the sound. Okay, and adults, there will be gasping, coughing, no nasal discharge, and drop in egg production, and mortality usually 20%. And treatment is not effective, and prevention is by vaccination. Usually infectious bronchitis vaccine we do not give in case of commercial broilers, because they usually you are going to find in case of adult birds or else in case of layers. Okay, layers and breeders usually show the symptoms, because in case of broilers you are going to keep it only for 4 to 6 weeks, for 6 to 8 weeks, and usually we do not get this infectious bronchitis there. It is not very prevalent. Okay, but in case of layers and breeders, we should go for the infectious bronchitis, but if it is not prevalent in your farm, there is no need of giving the infectious bronchitis vaccine. And this vaccine is usually given when the bird is around 12 weeks of age. Okay, so if you want the infectious bronchitis free flock, then simply vaccinate the adult ones, and the disease will not be there in the farm. Okay, it is usually given when the birds are 12 weeks of age. Even in 8 weeks, you can start this infectious bronchitis vaccine, no problem, but you can give before they start the egg production. So prevention is only by vaccination. The next disease is the infectious bursal disease or Gumboro disease, and this is a very prevalent one. And what are the symptoms that you are going to find? There's a slight tremor at the onset of disease, body temperature, there is rise in body temperature, strained defecation. Defecation means straining in passing of the stool, unsteady gait. Gait means their movement will be unsteady, and the main symptom is a whitish diarrhea. Okay, whitish diarrhea. Whitish diarrhea is also found in some bacterial diseases. Okay, but here there will be the sudden rise in the body temperature will be there, and the bursa of fabricius, which you are going to find in the rectal portion, that will be enlarged, or that will be swollen. So that is another symptom. Okay, so infectious bursal disease is very common. Vaccination is a must, so you can prevent this disease only through vaccination, and IBD vaccine has to be given in case of broilers as well as layers, all age group of birds, and usually the vaccine is given at 15 days of age, and the booster dose can be given at 30 days of age. Are you hearing, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just know the names of the diseases. You have to know, if I say IBD, you have to know it is infectious bursal disease. And you have to know that whitish diarrhea is a symptom, rise in body temperature is a symptom. Then you have to go for vaccination. When you have to go for vaccination? On 15th day and on 30th day. And then in case of layers, you have to revaccinate them when they are around 8 weeks of age. So vaccination, when you are going to give, is you have to know. So these are the common diseases, like Mareks disease is you have to go for vaccination on the very first day. Then Newcastle disease or Mareks disease, you have to go for vaccination on the 5th to 7th day. Again, booster dose will be required. Then you have to go for this infectious bursal disease. So these are the three most common diseases against which vaccination has to be done, whether it is a broiler or whether it is a layer or whether it is a breeder. Okay, apart from that, you can go for fowl pox if it is prevalent. You can go for avian bronchitis, infectious bronchitis, if it is prevalent in the farm. The next very common one is, yes, anything?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
I think internet is not very. Now it is clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. Next is avian influenza. All of you know that is the bird flu, and all of you know. And if the bird flu is prevalent, then there will be the sweep in the farm. Lots of mortality will be there, and it is caused by influenza A virus of Orthomyxoviridae, that is H5N1 subtype, and transmission takes place through saliva, if one bird comes in contact with the saliva of another bird, nasal secretion through the nasal discharges, and feces, and from bird to bird. So direct contact is the way how the transmission takes place. Okay. So through direct contact usually the transmission takes place, and the symptoms are the drop in egg production, sudden death, respiratory signs, and incoordination, and the nervous signs. So these are the symptoms, and very characteristic symptom that you are going to find is this one: petechial hemorrhages in the shank portion. Okay, so these are the this is a very common symptom. Another common symptom that you'll find is the cyanotic condition of the combs. The combs will turn bluish or blackish in nature. Okay, so these are the symptoms in case of avian influenza. So we'll stop here. We will discuss in the next class in details if you want, and the bacterial and those things we will continue in the next class. Okay, we'll stop here today.
Okay, ma'am.
Try to find out the
Yes,
causative
ma'am. Thank you,
organisms.
ma'am.
Try to find out the causative organisms of
Thank you, ma'am.
whatever diseases that we have discussed today. Okay? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.